Hi, good evening, and welcome to my daily live session on various tools and methods from my toolkit for execution excellence. And I'm extremely sorry for starting little late today. I was engaged in some other activities, so got delayed. Pardon me for that. And as usual, I've been speaking about various methods and tools from my toolkit for execution excellence. And one tool a day picked up at random out of a good number of tools which I've learned over the last 30 years and used more than learning. Used it, applied it, and iterated and further improved upon the tool for better effectiveness and efficiency. So today I'll be talking about Kaizen as I'd spoken and introduced yesterday. So before I do that, let me just give you a very recap of what I spoke yesterday and then continue on to Kaizen. So let's dive deep into what I spoke yesterday, which was about MBTI, Meyer Briggs type indicators, one of the various methodologies available for psychometric assessment, where it basically classifies people on this planet Earth to 16 types of psychological mindsets, and that can be in theory used to in some way or the other find out how they behave and how one could improve the relationships, etc. One way I said that you need to take all this with a pinch of salt, because many of these things are done uh, with some amount of external influence, because you know that you are doing it, and therefore there is a good amount of chance that your answers are not always the correct ones. Therefore, take it with a pinch of salt. And I said that there are multiple tools available: MBTI, then you've got Enneagram, then you've got elements assessment, disc assessment, etc., etc., etc. All more or less in the same manner. And also, there are other methodologies which are called as assessment centers. So, in all these cases, you need to always take it with a pinch of salt, because it's only a sample that you're doing. It's not you as you truly are, and that is something which you only know. And in my professional life, personal life, I've understood that more than these assessments, it's most important to be kind to yourself, kind to others, and then all the other things will fall in place. That's the most important thing to be as a human being. So that's something which I wanted to just recap. And let's start off today with a different tool, which is about Kaizen. So Kaizen, I think you must have heard all these words Kaizen written on the slide here in Japanese, and I'm not sure whether you have can read Japanese. I can't read Japanese. Only thing somebody said it is Kaizen. You can write it there. It looks good, so I wrote it as Kaizen. Kaizen is continual improvement. First, let me start talking about two fundamental principles, and then speak about Kaizen. Uh, there are two words: continual improvement and continuous improvement. Have you anytime thought as to what the difference could be? Continuous improvement and continual improvement. Continuous improvement is something where you are really continuously improving, right? That is continuous improvement. Continual improvement is you improve for some time and then come to a standard, go on for that standard, and again go to the next level, then come to the next level. That is continual improvement. Continual improvement is improvement in steps. Continuous improvement is continuously improving. As you see in that pictorial on the screen, the continuous improvement is quite challenging, because you always need to have a wedge, otherwise the entire thing will fall back, because there is no possibility for sustaining. That sustainment can only happen if you have a very strong wedge, and that is something which is not easy in industry, in business. Therefore, continuous improvement, though it is very ideal, it's quite challenging. It's not easy at all. So look for continual improvement, where you do some improvement and then stabilize it for some time, then go to the next level, stabilize it, then you go to the next level, stabilize it. That's something which is more practical in my opinion, which is what I have learned and I've been doing. So I would use the word continual improvement and not continuous improvement. That's something which I want to clarify in the beginning. Now, what is Kaizen? Kaizen, what is the principle of Kaizen? Uh, when we look at any activity, whatever we are doing, it could be as simple as brushing our teeth in the morning, or having a shower, or walking to buy a fresh freshly baked bread from the bakery in the corner, or it could be to just go for a stroll in the night, or it could be to have your lunch, or it could be to ride a bike, or it could be to drive to your work, or it could be to plan a meeting, or it could be to participate in a meeting, or it could be to make a live presentation like what I am doing here today. whatever be it, there is always a scope to do something better. And that's something which is the intrinsic desire in the human beings. Unfortunately, as we grow up, our entire society and the upbringing has dampened this intrinsic desire of discovery and inquisitiveness, which all of us had as kids. I'm sure each one of you can remember your childhood days when you would go to somebody's house and there is the auntie in the house would go to the kitchen to prepare a coffee or maybe get you a piece of cake, and you are really excited, interested what's happening in the kitchen. Let me go and see there. Can you think of those days? Can you think of those days where it just smelled very nice, smelled of strawberries or smelled of pineapple, and you wanted to find out what's that smell, where is it coming from, and just go in to peep in and find out what. As we become adults, we have been taught to really not do that, because that's something which is going to be really showing you as a very very immature person, as somebody who is not capable of controlling yourself, somebody who is not living in his conscious mind. He is not having conscious life, conscious living is not there. So many things are so many jargons have been bombarded into us, that this basic inquisitiveness, the basic human urge to discover, the basic human urge to learn something, to really look at something new, has been dampened. And this dampening many a times is considered as a very very sophisticated quality of a human being. Oh my god, look at it. As human beings, the only things that we have which is different from an animal is that we are able to think, we are able to imagine, and that imagination gives us aspiration. So we go behind some targets because we have aspiration based on our imagination, and we have the ability to think and learn. I remember one of the mayors of Curitiba. I don't remember his name. He was a lot of nice politicians when we were in Brazil. Curitiba, in fact, is even today considered as one of the best planned cities in the world, because it has an outstanding infrastructure, and the way the connectivity is ensured is really superb. And the concept of satellite towns were developed way back in 80s. I'm talking about something which is quite robust and quite interesting. Curitiba is a city. We lived there in that city for 5 years. If anybody is watching from Curitiba, Turuve, and please go and visit that city if you have a chance. It's in Brazil, South Brazil, very nice city. So in that city, the mayor once said, look, but the only difference between us and animals is something like this. Animals also know, they also experience, but they don't know that they know. Can you get that? They don't know that they know, but we know that we know. In the sense, we are able to imagine, we are able to construct something around, and that constructing something around is all because of our intrinsic desire to be inquisitive, intrinsic desire to be discovering something, to be learning something. And that's going to go on lifelong. And nowadays there is a lot of modern jargons used as lifelong learning, things of that kind, where people say that, look, I need to learn. That's nature, that's basic human quality, and that has been dampened over the years. And what Kaizen does is basically triggers that particular intrinsic desire to continually improve, intrinsic desire to learn, intrinsic desire to be inquisitive, intrinsic desire to experiment. Kaizen means you are continuously improving or continually improving whatever you're doing. It could be that you wanted to try out a different route, and you took that different route. For example, when you are traveling somewhere, that is Kaizen could be that you were trying to let us say walk to your department, and now instead of walking to a department, maybe you wanted to try out going on roller skates. That is Kaizen. Anything which you do to improve is Kaizen. Okay, now you can ask me, so what do you think of improvement? What is really improvement? And that is where the fundamental uh, philosophy comes in, where I'm going to talk about. Because Kaizen, in terms of doing Kaizen, it's very simple. You don't need to look at what you're doing and try to improve it. Now, so I don't want to explain as to how do you do Kaizen, what kind of reports you do, what kind of activities you do, how do you create people. I don't, that's something which a lot of people in the market can talk about that. I'm talking about the basic principle is to really kindle that kind of an inquisitiveness and discovery desire within ourselves. That is the first thing. Next is, how do you do Kaizen? What do you do? How do you do Kaizen? You can always, it's very simple. You need to improve. That's all. There's nothing to explain there. And what do you improve is a very, very important question. That is very interesting, because when you are talking about any activity which you are doing, think of an ideal state. That is the framework that one needs to have. What is the ideal state? Ideal state for me when I'm speaking to you would be possibly to look at all of you in front of me, where I'm able to see you in the 3D or whatever it is. So I get a feeling that I'm talking to you in a conference hall. So it becomes a very mutual, lively, one-to-one, people-to-people conversation. So that's the ideal state. So for me to achieve that ideal state, what all could I do? What all could I do which makes it meaningful? One could be that I'm talking to the camera. Instead of looking at the presentation, I try to look at the camera. And the other possibility is I'll do a simple Kaizen now, which is to say that, look, my face will be much more visible to you than the slide, which I do quite often in during the live sessions, which means you can understand my emotions, you can understand my body language, you can perceive my body language, you can see what I'm not at all communicating, but still I'm communicating. My body is, my face is really giving a lot of expression, and that's something which you can see, and that would be really great, isn't it? That's the wonder. That's the wonder of communication. Now, the other thing which I did as a Kaizen, if you see my earlier presentations, earlier I used to have a background with cupboard, and then it was in my house where I sit and do some homework. It's my kind of a home office, you can say. And then after that, I thought, why can't I put a background which will talk about do how? I'm the do how man. I'm the inventor of do how, and I invented and developed the concept of mindset, and then based on that, the do how is developed to really change the mindset of people so that they become more effective in whatever they are doing. And that's very simple. Effectiveness will improve because of the mindset. Mindset improves if you have a new experience. A new experience is what we create using do how. And that's something which then I said I need to have it as a background. So that's again a Kaizen, simple Kaizen. What did I do? I went to the hardware shop, bought a green curtain. I think you must be aware of that. Green curtain. And then after that, put this slide at the back. So that I'm trying to explain my secret. Okay, don't talk about that to many people. So that's the secret. And that's Kaizen, continuously looking at doing something better. Today, in fact, I did another Kaizen in the text where the video sharing is done. I changed a couple of words to make the meaning a little better. And once we are doing that, it's like those small pieces, and then keep on changing it will not really work. I changed this text after almost about 2 to 3 months of using the same text. I didn't change till then. And my background also was the same for almost I would say a month and a half, or maybe 3 months. And now I have the background for the last 4 weeks, and maybe I continue for some more time, because there is no point in changing it. Unless if you change it, you really don't know whether when you change it, what happened. Was it effective? Was it not effective? For that to happen, it is important, like I said, to have an idea of the ideal state. What is the ideal state? Ideal state is in any business, the ideal state is extremely simple. That the waiting time is 0, lead time is 0, and the first pass rate, that means whatever activity you do it with 0 defects. Again, another ideal state. Another ideal state is 0 travel. And when you want to order something, you pick up the phone, and then I want it to, even if you by the time you think the item should be there next to you. That is ideal state. Ideal state would be that you are able to purchase whatever you want at the price that you want to pay, or you want to pay, or what you can afford. Afford is the wrong word. You want to pay. Even though you can afford, maybe you don't want to pay such a high price for some particular activity. Whatever you think is the value, only for that value I should be able to buy. So these are all the ideal states. So anything that takes you towards the ideal state is improvement, and that improvement is what Kaizen is all about. I think you got the hang of it. Let me just summarize. First is, Kaizen is basically to trigger the urge and the desire, intrinsic desire in each one of us to improve and to discover and to become inquisitive. That is what Kaizen is all about, to really start talking about doing something different, something better. And what do you think is better? How do you differentiate whether it is better or not better? That is basically on the ideal state. You should always look at any activity, find out what the ideal state is, and for that ideal state, as long as you're moving towards the ideal state, don't worry, keep doing, keep walking. I think Johnny Walker has this very strong caption, right? Keep walking. So keep walking towards that ideal state. And as you keep walking towards that ideal state, every step you take, every improvement you do is a Kaizen, is a small improvement. Thanks a lot for watching. For those of you in India, have a nice evening. For those of you outside India, have a great day ahead. And before I leave, let me just give you a very, very peek into what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow, again, it's going to be a very, very technical topic. It's about the capability studies. I'll be speaking about capability studies. How do you compare? I spoke about the normal distribution and control charts a little while back, and tomorrow I'll be talking about how do you compare that normality with the specification so that you get a particular capability number or capability index. That will be my topic for tomorrow. See you tomorrow evening, more or less the same time. And till then, have a nice evening for those of you in India, and for those of you outside India, have a great day ahead, and see you there. Bye bye.